Hi everyone, welcome back. Welcome to a new video. Today we will learn some few differences between the Syrian dialect and the Egyptian dialect and make some few comparisons to see if we interchange some words. We will get misunderstood if we are speaking to a Syrian or an Egyptian. If you are ready, let's start. Let's start with the first one. The phrase إن شاء الله نفرح فيكي أو إن شاء الله نفرح فيك means you are wishing the person you are speaking to him that he will get married soon or find his partner. But in Syria you can use it by saying إن شاء الله نفرح فيكي. But if you are using it speaking to an Egyptian, you have to change one word in order not to get misunderstood. Because the same phrase, Inshallah nifrah fiki, means you are wishing this person to get embarrassed or being put in a position that someone will laugh at him or unsuitable condition. So you have to change the last word and say, instead of fiki أو فيك, you change it biki أو بيك. So it will become Inshallah nifrah biki. Inshallah nifrah bik. So that you won't get misunderstood if you use the Syrian form. This is the first one, and it was funny that once I used it with my Egyptian friend and she was about to get annoyed. I explained to her that it means that I am wishing you to get married, not to get embarrassed. The second word. If you are Syrian and went to the grocery store to shop some flour to make some flour to make a dough, in Syria we call it طحين, the flour طحين. But in Egypt it means tahini, which is completely a different item. So if you ask the shopkeeper to bring you طحين, he will bring you something different. And you have to learn the word they use for flour. In Egypt they use دقيق. دقيق means طحين in the Syrian dialect, which means flour. So in the Syrian طحين, Egyptian دقيق. Another word. If you went to someone and he offered you some food, if you are Syrian, you will say طيب. طيب means delicious, it's nice food, طيب. But the Egyptians say حلو. حلو means delicious. But the funny thing here is حلو in the Syrian dialect means sugary. So that's sometimes confusing. If you are offering someone food and he said حلو, you will this seems strange, especially if the food is not sugary or it doesn't contain sugar. But it's totally understandable. If the person is Egyptian, he would say حلو for a delicious food. Another difference for salty. Any salty food or anything salty, the Syrians call it مالح. مالح, salty. But the Egyptians say حدق or حادق. So it's a completely different word. And if you give him some food and say, oh, it's حادق or حدق, he is Egyptian. He or she is Egyptian. but the Syrians say مالح. مالح من ملح، ملح salt. Another different, and this one is makes me laugh. It's so funny. We call the type of sugar syrup we add to our dessert in Syria. We call it atar. It's a kind of sugar, prepared sugar, add water, boiled until it becomes thick. We use it or serve some dessert using this sugary syrup. We call it atar. When we went to Egypt and we told our Egyptian friends when we served food with it, we add atar, they just start to laugh at this, because atar in Egypt means train. So that's a completely different thing, and it doesn't have anything to do with foods. And they call the sugar syrup in Egypt, they call it either honey, asal honey, or sharbat. That's what they call, and they don't know what, if you say atar, they don't have any connection with it, because they call the train atar, while in Syria we call this kind of sugary syrup atar. This is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed and laughed at some of these comparisons and differences between these two dialects. And there are a lot more, not even with the Egyptian dialect, but with other Arabic dialects. When you say a word, and if you travel and say a word and people start laughing at it, it doesn't mean that you are wrong, but they use the same word to indicate another thing or to point to another thing. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave me a comments about your suggestions and what you think, and see you the next time. Goodbye.